Welcome back to Tanya in 5. The last few days we have been studying chapter 29. We are currently on a journey. The journey takes us to chapter 31 and the chapters that will follow, in which the Alter Rebbe will describe attachment to God through immense and deep joy. On the journey to get there, we began in 26, 27, and 28 with advice and tips on how to deal with anxieties and things that cause us sadness. In 29 and 30, the Alter Rebbe addresses another component or another item that might prevent one from true attachment to God with the true proper joy. This issue is what he calls timtum halev, having a closed heart. That is to say, a person feels complacent. The person might be doing everything he's supposed to, following the code of Jewish law down to the letter, and yet doesn't feel that fire, doesn't feel that passion when he prays, doesn't feel motivated, and doesn't have that sense of, I got to do more. He feels complacent. His heart is closed to getting excited and to moving. To deal with this issue, the Alter Rebbe advises something that's rather harsh. And therefore, it's important to remember that what we're going to describe in 29 and 30 isn't the consistent manner in which we relate to God. The consistent manner comes in chapter 31, and other chapters where he talks about joy. Here, he's specifically dealing with someone who feels like they've reached a point of cold complacency. So in 29, says the Alter Rebbe as follows. This notion of complacency, the closed heart, the man who feels like, I'm fine. That is the ultimate sense of ego. I am fine. Leave me alone. I don't need to do any more. I'm good. I really am good. I do everything I'm supposed to. I follow the law. I never break it. I'm good. That comes from a sense of ego. I am good. Ego is the essence of the animal soul and therefore inherently distant from God. As we explained in previous chapters, godliness and holiness only comes through that which is surrendered unto God, that which is humble before God, that which says, I'm fine, I'm okay. That sense of self-assuredness, that is the ultimate animalistic arrogance that puts myself at the center of the world. And therefore, I have to look that ego in the face and say, you are terrible. God's the only truth. And here you are declaring you're the center of your life. This is true even if a person never sinned. Just the very notion that he says, I'm okay, is enough for this response. How the more so if someone does, God forbid, have sin, how the more so they can look at themselves in the mirror and say, you're complacent? You're complacent? And when a person breaks that sense of ego down, that is the essence of breaking down the klippa, the forces that are antagonistic to God. Because those forces are the forces of the ego, the forces of the I, the forces that declare independence from God. And by breaking that sense of I down, one allows for the light and the beauty of the godly soul to emerge and be felt. The takeaway from all of this is, there are times when a person feels numb, doesn't feel anything. Not sadness, not happiness, nothing, just completely numb. And to get out of that, sometimes what's required is a break. Something that says, no, this isn't okay. You aren't okay. And when the person breaks down that way, all of a sudden the floodgates of the heart open and the person can feel both sadness and joy, the good feelings and the opposite. Comes chapter 29 and says, don't, God forbid, wait for circumstances around you to force you to acknowledge things have to change. Do it to yourself. Looking forward to seeing you when we conclude chapter 30.